Have you ever looked at a massive government budget and just wondered, where does all that money actually go? You see these huge numbers, but trying to connect them to, say, a new clinic in a village can feel almost impossible. Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're diving deep into India's official financial documents to decode one of its most ambitious health initiatives.
Okay, let's start with this number right here, just to get a sense of the scale we're talking about. 2,642.74 crore rupees. That is the budget estimate just for medical and public health. We're talking billions of dollars, a truly massive investment in the country's health.
And right, that's the big question, isn't it? A number that huge is kind of abstract. How does it actually turn into something real? How does it become the foundation for a healthier India? Well, to figure that out, you got to follow the money.
So, our journey takes us straight to this flagship program, the Pradhan Mantri Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Mission. We'll just call it PM-ABHIM, because that's a mouthful. This mission is a huge piece of that public health budget we just saw. And really, if you want to understand India's health strategy, you have to understand this.
So, what is it exactly? Well, here's the official definition. And it's about so much more than just building hospitals. You see those keywords? Capacities, all levels, and this is the big one, future pandemics and disasters. This is all about building a resilient system from the ground up, one that's ready for whatever comes next. And this isn't just one giant pot of money being thrown at a problem. You should think of PM-ABHIM more like a complex engine with a bunch of moving parts. The budget documents actually show us how the money is split up into different strategic areas. So let's pop the hood and take a look. This table really lays it all out. You can see three main streams of funding. First, you've got 570 crores for the core, central health system. Then, another 351 crores for biosecurity and pandemic research. Super important stuff. But look at that last one. The biggest piece by far, 4,200 crores, is a centrally sponsored scheme. All that means is the central government gives that money to the states so they can build up their own local infrastructure. Okay, so we've seen the financial plan. Now for the crucial part. How does all this money and planning turn into actual physical buildings? What does this look like on the ground? This is where it gets really specific. We're not just guessing here. The government's own monitoring framework tells us exactly what they expect to build with this cash. So what's on the list for the coming year?
Just look at this list. These are not vague promises. They are concrete, measurable goals. We're talking about 2,500 new sub-health centers for rural areas, 750 block public health units, 300 new labs, 90 critical care hospital blocks. And remember, this is the plan for just one fiscal year.
But you know, just building a building is only half the story. The real goal, the outcome, as they say in the budget, is getting these places up and running. This chart shows the target for making these new facilities actually functional. The aim is to have 225 of those block units, 150 labs, and 50 critical care blocks not just built, but actually open and serving people by the end of the year. Now, let's zoom out for a second. Because building all this stuff isn't just a public health issue. It's also a matter of social justice. Where these new facilities are built and who can access them, that's key to creating a more equal society. So all those new clinics and labs we just saw, the principle behind them is universal access. The whole point is to build this infrastructure in places that have been historically overlooked to make sure that quality healthcare isn't some lottery that depends on where you happen to live. And hey, this isn't just my interpretation. This quote is from a related health scheme, and it makes the goal crystal clear. The stated objective is literally correcting regional imbalances. This idea of using healthcare investment as a tool to create fairness, it's a theme that pops up again and again in these documents. And it's really important to get that PM-ABH isn't happening in a vacuum. It's one critical piece of a much, much larger system of programs, all designed to create a wider social safety net. And here are just a few examples we pulled from the budget. You've got dedicated funding for tribal communities, for the urban poor, for scheduled castes and tribes, for women's empowerment, for marginalized folks. Health infrastructure is the backbone that helps support the goals of all these other vital programs. So as we bring this all together, what have we learned from this dive into the budget? Well, we started with one really big number, and we've ended up with a detailed blueprint for the future of India's health system. What's really clear is that these financial documents are so much more than just money. They lay out a very specific plan that connects the funding to construction targets, to operational goals, and to this overarching mission of building a health system that's not only stronger, but also a lot fairer for every single person. And that leaves us with the final, and honestly, the most important question. The blueprint is there. The money is allocated. The targets are set, but the real test is always in the execution, in turning this incredibly ambitious plan on paper into a reality of better health for hundreds of millions of people. That is the challenge and the opportunity that lies ahead.